that time of the month, Aunt Flo coming to visit, monsterating, or my favourite one, surfing the crimson tide. Yep, lots of different names, but I will be talking about periods, so go grab your hot water bottle and lean in. And ironically, this video is a little bit later than planned because the incoming crimson tide has just knocked me for 6. And I know I'm not alone in that. I know there are other home educators who find that their periods have a massive impact on their home ed journey. In fact, for me, I think it would probably be my top 3 struggles. So I thought it was really important to start a conversation about it. I know everyone is different, but if you're a home educator that has a period, then at least a week or a few days out of every month are going to be impacted. For me, at times it can be like half of the month is impacted significantly by having a period, because there's the few days beforehand where I'm having to apologise a lot to my children because I get so irritable. I'm going to bed as soon as they go to sleep. I'm asleep, needing 10 hours of sleep each night and still waking up exhausted the next day. And then there's the week of the period, so there's the migraines, the pain, the kind of having to think 3 steps ahead anytime that you're going out, just the general feeling rubbish over that time. And then because of all of that, the following few days are me like frantically trying to catch up on all the things that I didn't get done during that week, the housework, the work, the home ed plans. And then I just like a sweet week and a half or 2 weeks where I'm full of all the ideas and all the plans and most of the energy, but then before I know it, we're back into those 2 weeks again. And it can be a nightmare. And it's hard to stay consistent in all of this, so then guilt and frustration kind of creep in when I start to think about home ed and what I'm doing or not doing. And of course, like I had periods before I was a home educator, but then I would, it was different. I would kind of have to pull myself together for those hours of work, and then I could come home and completely switch off without consequences to everyone. But it is not like that now. I am glad, and I know it's a privilege, and I'm 100% over the moon with the fact that I get to be with my kids all the time. Disclaimers out the way, but from 5 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock-ish at night, I'm actively with my kids, being their main facilitator for education, for their growth, for their health, all of those things. And then in the evenings, because that's my only child free time, that's when I'm trying to get my paid work done or prep for home ed or just do anything that's going to be easier without kids around. And so it feels like during those 2 weeks, I'm having to constantly choose where I'm going to fail. Am I going to fail in the kind of home education and maybe going to community groups and activities with people? Am I going to fail in my work deadlines, or in the housework, or in kind of self-care? Like I have to pick and choose where I'm going to fail. And I know it's not really failure, but like try telling that to a hormone-filled home educator who's surfing that crimson tide. It feels very much like failure. So my home ed this week, what does it look like? It's looked like a lot of sending my kids off to play either outside or upstairs and just kind of be out of my way a little bit. It's looked like being okay with more screen time. It's looked like me trying to kind of rouse enthusiasm when one of my kids just tells me all the intricacies of his Lego project. It looks like not getting too upset when one of my kids decides to do works of art with paint pens all over the wall when I didn't have the kind of energy to be paying as much attention as I should have. It looks like not worrying that one of my kids spent the week puppy training another one of my kids. It looks like piles and piles of laundry and dishes and a messy house. And it looks like a lot of evenings of me just being unable to function really, so that then I wake up in the morning and have to kind of panic and stress over getting all the things done that I had to get done the night before but didn't. And that's not a great way to start a day. And so yeah, it's been a rough week. This is normally the part of the video where I go, and that's okay. But do you know what? It doesn't feel okay. I know it's okay for my kids to have less structure. I know that's absolutely okay. I know it's okay to let people down because I'm listening to my body or whatever it is that I feel lame about doing, but I know is important. I know that's okay, but it doesn't feel okay. And it doesn't feel okay because we're surrounded by systems that don't support us in that, whether that be medical professionals maybe not taking things seriously, whether that's there being very few options for affordable childcare that isn't school, whether it's just the weird expectations we put on ourselves and society puts on us that this is something we've just got to push on through and stiff upper lip and all that kind of thing. It doesn't feel okay. Now, I don't want to be like, okay, let's look on the bright side now, because that dismisses all of what went before, but also I have to go about my day, so if I end a video there, I'll feel very gloomy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the hope that, as I was thinking about this, that I spotted. First of all, our week has been okay. It's been nice, in fact. We've had a holiday club we've gone to most days that's free. We've had our neighbours bake us some beautiful, delicious cakes and bring them round. We rescued a slug called, well, we've named it Snaily. I'm not too sure why, but that was exciting. We've had Lego adventures, we've had face painted, we've still had lots of fun. We met a tiny owl that was really adorable called Bobby. So yeah, the week's been okay. But the main place that I think I find hope is in the actual fact that I am a home educator that has periods. My kids get to be part of it. They get to see it, they get to understand it. There's no, like for me, when I was about 5 or 6 years old and I was at school and this older boy told me this horror story about his sister getting her period. And I have a terrible memory, but I remember that, and I remember going home sobbing about it. And my kids are unlikely to have that because it's very normal for them. There's no like talk we're gonna have. It's just living life together. And because home ed at its core is relational and living life together, and I am hopeful that this is going to be of a benefit for them because they're going to know about it without it being a big deal. There's going to be no like embarrassment when they see a tampon advert on the TV like I used to feel when I was watching TV with my dad. There's not that. It's just very, very normal. But also I hope that they grow in compassion, and which is one of our kind of core values as a home educating family, and one of the reasons why we do it is that they get the opportunity to see that sometimes you have to make adjustments to put other people's needs before yours. Sometimes people are going to be struggling and we can do things to help them and we can do things to hinder them, and we've got a choice to make in that. And for them to just recognise that sometimes what you see on the front of somebody doesn't necessarily show what they're experiencing behind the scenes, and just to grow that compassion in them. So that's what I'm hopeful for. I also know that I have a huge privilege in being able to take days slowly with my children. We don't have to be places at a certain time, tick certain boxes during the day. We can make adjustments, we can take it slowly, and perhaps that's idealistic. Perhaps when they grow up and they're much more having to be in the systems around them, that they'll think that that was just some like idealistic thing and wish that I don't know, hurried them along a bit more. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the ideal is to have a bit more of a slow approach to things, a gentler approach to how we get through the day together. So I am hopeful that because I'm a home educator and because I have periods, that's an opportunity to help my kids be braver and kinder members of the community. And I'll end on that note, even though next week you'll probably find me crying into a cup of tea or curled up in a ball in the corner of the sofa, whining about it. I'm going to end on that note there. And I would love to know what you think about it in the comments, or get in touch with us on social media, because I don't know, I don't see many home educators talking about periods too much. I'm thankful that in the little groups that I'm in, it seems to be fairly normal to talk about. Maybe it is everywhere else. Maybe this is old news. But I'd love to know what you think. I'd love you to send this to other people if you think that it's a conversation that should be continued. And just keep an eye out as well for more content that we might be doing around this topic as well, maybe a live or two. Anyway, I hope you have a great week and thank you so much for watching.